Hey Quarantunes, how are you? Thought I'd talk about something different today, other than the usual Peruvian stuff. I don't usually make New Year's resolutions because by January 10th. So I just don't do that. But I do make a resolution every May or early June. I look at a certain painting by Pierre-Auguste Renoir. He's not one of my favorite painters. He was an impressionist, but he doesn't seem to come up to the level of some of the others. And I think a lot of his paintings look like just a basic illustration from some magazine in the turn of the last century. The girls are too sweet, the colors are too bright, there's rosy cheeks on all the women. But I found out that he, as a young man, worked in a porcelain factory, painting porcelain. So now it kind of made sense because all that rosy cheeks, you see on porcelains. So I think it makes a little more sense. That doesn't mean I like them. Having said that, I have to put him up there in a category of favorite painters because of one painting in particular, which is one of my very favorites, and it's the one I look at every year and make my resolution, and it's this one. Le Déjeuner des Canotières, or in English, Luncheon of the Boating Party. And you can see there's the balcony of Maison Fournaise with all of Renoir's friends gathered together for a luncheon. This is Aline Charigot playing with a little dog. She was one of his models and later became his wife. And she stayed with him for the rest of his life and took care of him once he was quite elderly and disabled. They're all young and vibrant and sensual and alive on a summer day. The young woman in the center there is Hélène André. She's an actress. And the guy seated across from her with his back to us with the brown derby, that is Baron Raoul Barbier. He is the former mayor of Saigon in Vietnam. And the gentleman up at the top with the top hat is Charles Efroussi. He was a wealthy art historian and a collector. So of course we had to put him in case he might buy one of the paintings. And here in the foreground is Gustave Caillebotte wearing a straw hat, boater's hat, and the actress Angèle Lejeune, and an Italian Adrienne Maggiolo, who was an Italian journalist. And there's others up in the background flirting, all friends of Renoir. Now, these two are the son and daughter of Monsieur Fournaise, the owner of the restaurant. That is Alphonse Fournaise Jr. and Louise Alphonsine Fournaise, leaning on the rail. And this here is the modern day Maison Fournaise. I'm not sure it has that name still, but you see on the far right that red building with the red awning. That's where the Luncheon of the Boating Party took place. And here is the actual balcony itself. I heard that a group of wealthy American patrons bought that building, and I don't know whether they had it restored or they just kept it in place so that you can go onto the balcony and you can have lunch too, right? And imagine you're back then in 1881 looking at the sailboats out on the Seine, hanging out with Alphonse and Louise Alphonsine Fournaise. My resolution every year is I look at the the luncheon of the boating party, and I think that's what my summer's going to be like. This is exactly what my summer's going to be like. I am resolved that this is what my summer's going to be like, and guess what? It never is. Never, never, never. Because there are rainy days, there are heat waves, there are mosquitoes, there are, you have to work, you have to do things you don't want to do, you can't get together with your friends, there's cancellations, there's delays, there's all the stuff of life that intrudes. And so I always sort of feel about August, you know what? My summer wasn't like the luncheon of the boating party. This year, I can't have summer in New England or in New York. So for sure, my summer isn't going to be like the luncheon of the boating party. But because of that, I think I've had a little distance from it. And I think now when I look back, I think, you know what? I did have summers like luncheon of the boating party. I think Renoir, just think about this. He's probably had to get all those people together out in Chatou. They're arguing, people arguing, I don't want to do it. I can't meet you today. I don't want to do this. All right, no, you stand there, you sit here, you do this. And none of those problems appear in the painting. None of them do. It's just a beautiful moment, very nostalgic. You can imagine Renoir as an old man, and he lived to be quite old, looking at that painting and remembering that. He wouldn't remember all the problems. He'd remember that day. That's how I feel about it now. And when I look back at summers, any summer, I don't remember the mosquitoes and the problems and the heat and this. I just remember all the wonderful times with friends and family. And I think, you know what? I guess I did have luncheon of the boating party. I just didn't realize it would be seen that way in retrospect. So I think every year now when I look at it, I will still have the same resolution, but I'll try to bear in mind that not every day is going to be like that until the summers in the past. And you can look back at it like Renoir did. Even this summer, it's your summer, it's our winter here, where I'm thrilled to say the winter in Peru is nothing like the winter up north. But even here with all these problems and all this coronavirus death, destruction, I am quite sure I'm going to look back at these days with some nostalgia about certain things. So, I hope you are having a fantastic summer, and I hope you have a fantastic summer ahead of you, and I hope you are all thinking that you're in Chatou and all having something similar to luncheon of the boating party.